Out of financial necessity and through creative ability, business founders often apply improvised, makeshift, frugal solutions to progress their startups. By using resources which are on hand, like borrowing space or machinery from friends, rather than acquiring new inputs, entrepreneurs can dramatically reduce startup costs. Researchers have recently applied the term entrepreneurial bricolage to describe the frugal and creative ways entrepreneurs manage to achieve a lot with seemingly very limited resources. There are three aspects to this phenomenon of entrepreneurial bricolage. Making do. This means a willingness to tinker and find ways to achieve goals without what may be considered the correct skills or resources. Resources at hand. This entails finding value in what others view as worthless and using both one's own and outside resources which are available cheaply or in some cases free of charge. New combinations. Putting things to new use by recombining resources for purposes for which they were not originally intended. On the surface, entrepreneurial bricolage can provide a myriad of benefits to a startup firm. But is it good or bad business practice? Our team of researchers at the Australian Centre for Entrepreneurship Research took on this question and considered whether the use of bricolage makes startups more or less innovative. Firstly, data from the comprehensive Australian study of entrepreneurial emergence was used, which examined 672 nascent and young firms over time. By measuring the respondents' degree of agreement with statements indicating a level of bricolage and combining those findings with an expanded measure of the firm's innovativeness, we were able to estimate the influence of bricolage on firm innovation. Overall, the estimated relationship between bricolage and innovation was found to be positive, meaning the more bricolage, the better. This was not necessarily expected. One could easily imagine that excessive use of bricolage would produce worse results. Furthermore, the positive relationship holds up for the overall measure of innovation, as well as in separate analysis of innovation by product or service, by method of producing or sourcing the product or service, and the marketing and distribution method applied. However, bricolage was found to be helpful only up to a point in terms of market innovation, suggesting the initially positive effect of bricolage flattens out and perhaps even turns negative as the use of entrepreneurial bricolage reaches very high levels. The research suggests that founders use bricolage to a great extent and that this is usually productive rather than harmful when it comes to producing innovative outcomes. This does not mean that bricolage is better than conventional ways to come up with innovation. Rather, it suggests that without inexpensive bricolage solutions, most nascent and young firms cannot afford to be innovative at all. Hence, rather than feeling cheap or unprofessional, firm founders have valid reasons to feel smart and proud for acting resourcefully. Similarly, consultants and policymakers do not have valid reason to discourage entrepreneurial bricolage based on current research evidence. However, this research concerns innovation and not startup survival or financial performance. Positive effects of bricolage on these outcomes have not yet been proven. In addition to this, the level of innovativeness was tested in this research, not the quality or attractiveness of the innovations. Despite this research only finding limited support for the detrimental effects of using too much bricolage, there are sound theoretical and logical reasons for suspecting that excessive use can have negative consequences. With this in mind, applying bricolage with some caution rather than adopting the practice as an all-encompassing business strategy should safeguard startup firms from the detrimental effects of entrepreneurial bricolage.